Hello, welcome to the Be Well Kinema podcast. We're back with Christian. You formerly know me as Leche. There's no Diego next to me. He is absent at the moment. But today we have Haley and Leah with us. We're going to be discussing the top topic of unrealistic goal setting versus creating sustainable habits. I think this is a very popular topic into the new year when people, come out strong and want to have a good year all around. But then might set goals that might be a little bit too unobtainable. So we want to kind of help you and discuss like with real world examples of kind of what you can do to set yourself up for success in the long run. I'll have Haley and Leah introduce themselves. Haley, if you want to go first.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Haley. And as Christian said, and I'm one of our health coaches with Kinema Fitness. And so, yeah, just here to offer my perspective today on all things setting up goals, making sure you do them, and making sure that they fit you and what you are in line with what you want to do.
And I'm Leah Atkinson, super excited to be here. Senior Vice President for Kinema Fitness. I've been a manager in the fitness field for a really long time. I'm a mother of a 14-year-old, and I have gone from a strong fitness journey as a fitness professional to a desk job for 5+ years. So I'm excited to talk about, I guess, the struggle that is very real as a working mother.
Yes. Great. So those are our two guests today. So basically what we kind of want to discuss specifically with Leah, unrealistic goals or expectations and sustainable habits. So everyone's kind of different. We have different demographics. We have young people, we have middle-aged people, we have older people. So what we really kind of want to do in this like multi-part series is kind of give you information on all demographics that we can. So we have Leah today, as she stated, that she is a mother. She also has a very high role in our company, so she is very, very busy. So we kind of want to ask her and talk to her about her journey and how she creates sustainable habits for herself. So Leah, if you want to just basically start off, you can start from scratch anywhere. Tell us what you got.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. So, a little bit more about me. To give my age, I am a fossil. I'm 47 years old. I have a 14-year-old daughter. I, am a working professional who does have a very high stress job. My job will get me up at 5 a.m. to get deadlines done. And, I'm working sometimes through 10 p.m. and this can be 7 days a week. So it's a lot. A little bit of a background about me is I worked as a manager, as a fitness professional, trainer, group fitness instructor for, since I was 21 years old. So over the past 5 years, I've made the transition of being active and being very fit as what I did for a living and I got paid for to going straight to a desk and sitting. And then, so it was something that fitness was a part of who I was. I didn't have to think about it. It was almost to the point where I'm like, oh my God, can I actually take a day where I only have to shower once and I actually don't have to exercise today? And to me, that was a good day. So then fast forward, high stress, don't have time to exercise. I don't do it for my job anymore. I have to fit it into my schedule. And then hitting a specific age where your body completely changes. Your metabolism is not your own. Your sometimes emotional state is no longer your own because of hormones. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and you don't look the way you used to look. Your muscle doesn't keep the way it did. And then just dealing with that from, just sort of a mental perspective is really, really hard. So for me, it is the big struggle of, what do I prioritize? I'm in a job that's really demanding, but I also have a lot of passion for the job that I do. I want it to be successful. I want the company I'm in to grow. So I put 110% in. And then what comes next? My family, my husband, my 14-year-old who's very busy soccer schedule. She's at a time in her life where she needs a lot of support, from her parents, especially emotionally, getting into high school. And then at the same time, how do I prioritize my own workout, even if it's walking? I mean, there's days today where I think maybe I've taken 1,000 steps, and like, what am I going to do later? Do I spend time with my family, or do I try to go to the gym? Do I try to take a walk? So it's constantly this battle and struggle. Um, and I guess how I have handled it is, I got to a place where I'm like, oh my God, I need to do something about this. My weight isn't, what it used to be. I don't look the way I used to be. I don't feel, because the better you eat, the more you exercise, the better you feel. So what I do is I have to set weekly goals for myself is the only way I get through it. And so whether those goals are this week, my number one priority is to get in 3 strength training workouts. And I finagle it around. If my daughter has soccer, I can drop her off and I can go to the gym and I can pick her up and I can come back. So it's really pushing myself to get that done, even if it's 10 degrees on a Tuesday. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning doing month-end reports, and I would rather drop her off and go home and take a nap and go back and pick her up. But it's just pushing myself through that piece of it, and then setting like an 8,000 step goal. And then if I don't hit that goal, what I have to be really strict with myself about is not beating myself up on the fact that that didn't happen. Because I think what happens for a lot of people, especially mothers, we try to put ourselves first as best as possible, but then it's prioritizing whether that is sleep more important, is, getting rest, is it, having a moment where you can be in the car by yourself to just veg out and not have to answer texts, or, deal with people complaining about dinner, or, how come you can't find my sweatshirt that you were supposed to clean the laundry with? So it's celebrating any win that I have and making sure I look at my week, realizing that I had some win. And even if I didn't, what am I going to do better next week? And constantly telling myself that it's not a sprint. I have to constantly take a step back and reevaluate what I did last week and how I'm going to be better, opposed to giving up. And I think what happens with a lot of people, especially mothers, is we just say, okay, you know what, I just don't have time for it right now. But what'll happen is next Monday, I know is the week that it's gonna start. And then something could happen, like especially for us, we could get a new contract. All of a sudden that falls out of the blue, and it's like, okay, well, I have 3 hours to get X done, so my workout today is just not gonna happen. But then even if that does, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. But life happens.
Yeah.
I really like your. Oh, Haley, if you have something to say,
you can go. You can go.
Okay, I really like what your like take is on it, like where you have to do it weekly and you set up those goals. But even if you don't like achieve those goals, you still have a positive outlook on it. Like it's a glass half full kind of thing. And I think that probably goes much further in keeping you to hit those goals rather than like you gave up after 1 week. So it's like, I'm not doing it week 2. And then it's boom, then you're out 2 weeks, where it's like, if you did half as good on week 1 and you gave yourself some positive just outlook on it, you're more motivated going into week 2. You've set yourself up. You said, I know I can do better. And then you do. And then I think that's kind of how keeps kind of like just a quote from like an old book I read. It's like an energy bus. It keeps the energy bus going if you fill it like with good energy. So I really like that.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, Leah, you were hitting a lot on like different, honestly, like I know we asked you to like come on and talk from the perspective of like being like a working mother and like how does that make work, how do you make that work? But then I mean you just kind of started hitting a lot of different demographics on the head of just like someone that has a very high demand job, women, you mentioned like their bodies changing and like all of that goes into that, and it's not only just physically but mentally and emotionally that those kind of play into your life and how that's going to affect like all the goals that you're trying to do. And then you're throwing in kids and a family and things like that. So I thought that was it was kind of nice. At least the main takeaway I had, there was a lot. I want to echo what Christian said about glass half full, thinking about what wins can we celebrate, and like I almost kind of think of when he was talking, it was like having a goldfish memory of like, okay, we're not going to think about the one workout we missed last week that we really wanted to hit. It's like just goldfish memory, keep on going, with, again, let's try this again, or can we do something different to get to the same goal that we want. I liked what he said. But then, yeah, just also talking about, I just lost my train of thought.
No, you're
Oh,
no,
So
I mean,
sorry.
you're going the right
So,
direction. Because I mean, in a lot of things, I mean, you're following, going down the right path. So, I mean, a lot of things too, with all people in general, regardless of what age, like we put ourselves, we create all these rules for ourselves, and it also happens in health and wellness, right?
yeah.
And even I am somebody, I mean, I hold a certificate, I mean, I have a degree in exercise, science, also in rehab science. I'm a precision nutrition coach, personal training. I have so many group fitness certifications. I know all the fitness stuff, right? So, but we all, and even myself, will put all these guidelines and rules on ourselves. Like, okay, my health and wellness journey starts today. Like today's the day it's going to start. So I'm going to hit my 30 grams of protein right after I go to the gym. And then that's going to follow with this, and this. I'm going to start where I'm going to do a little bit of intermittent fasting. I'm not going to have my breakfast till this time. And then we set up all these rules and we're like, we are all in, like all in. And then you get 3 days into your week and you end up stressing out at work and you don't eat for like 8 hours accidentally. The first thing you grab, you're not thinking, you go for the chips, you go for the cookies, and then you're like, F it, pizza tonight because I'm not cooking. And then you're like, forget about it. I'm a loser. I'm going to ride this bandwagon until Monday when I'm going to start all over again. And
Yeah.
so, and then we're all out. So it's human nature where we're either all in or we're all out. And then what happens is kind of like this whole conversation where it's, well, then I'm terrible. I can't start now. So tomorrow I can't start with an apple. I have to go get a donut. Like we feel like we failed because we set up these crazy, like I have to, the only way I'm going to lose weight is if I do it this way, this way, and this way, and this way. These are the habits. I'm going to follow this diet. I'm going to purchase this influencers program. And this is the program that's going to,
Yeah.
help me where I want to go. And then life doesn't happen like that. Like life is not linear. We have to be okay with it's not perfect. If you strive for every day is going to be perfect the way you want it on on your fitness journey or any other journey in general, you're going to fail because perfection's not possible.
Yeah, the rules are it's crazy. Like when I'm in sessions with people for health coaching and they're like, well, like I'm doing this diet because, of this and this. And I go, what? I'm doing this diet and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I'm like, I go, why are you doing that diet? And they're like, well, that's what's gonna help. And I go, well, do you even want to do the diet? And they're like, well, not really. And I just go, well, you're not gonna do it then, And so I like what you said about, yeah, like we do create a lot of rules for ourselves, and often a lot of those like just they end up hindering us more than helping us. Like a really common one I get all the time is like if I'm in a training session with a client and they're like, and we're stretching and they're like, well, how often should I stretch? And I go, do you do it every day? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, okay, so at least try like every day. They're like, well, when should I do it? I go, just do it. Like, don't, if you miss it, like if it's after a workout or when you get to bed or when you wake up, like, I don't care. Just stretch. Like, it's not that hard. Like, just get it in.
Yeah, I mean, I have a best friend and we're the same age. She has a different lifestyle than I do. She's single. She's single, she's not married, she doesn't have kids. She lives in New York City. She makes boat ton money, love her to death. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this podcast. But
You sound really happy for her.
right, no, I mean I totally am, but like she is the type of person, she's very much perfectionist and she's very much type A, slightly OCD individual. And with her is she does that same exact thing to herself. It's like, well, if you tell me exactly how I'm supposed to stretch, when I'm supposed to stretch, I'm going to follow exactly what you tell me. And then I will put those plans in place because I know you are giving me this program. If I follow it, I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
Second, she wakes up and her day gets derailed by she couldn't get out of bed. To her in her mind, she is a 100% failure and goes in a completely different direction. But I think a lot of us do that.
Yeah.
So we want someone to tell us, like, you just tell me this is what I should be doing, I'm going to do it. And that's when the weight loss is going to happen. That's when the healthy happens. Like that's, it's you tell me I purchased this program that says I'm gonna eat protein and vegetables every day. And to your point, do you like vegetables? Well, no, not really. I don't. I like one and it's a carrot. So are you gonna actually eat carrots and chicken every no. And like how crazy is that? And it's with folks really understanding that everything you do is a balance. There is no quick fix, first and foremost. No one special program is gonna be it. It's gonna resonate because honestly, any program that you want to do keto, you want to subscribe to intermittent fasting, you want to, whatever it is that you want to do, metabolic, whatever. If it's something that works in your lifestyle and you enjoy doing it and it fits, then that's the one that's gonna work.
Yeah.
But then also, like for somebody like me, too, I have a past where weight loss and staying fit was extremely easy, more or less. And now I'm looking at the fact that I took for granted how much walking I did during the day. Like, forget that I was teaching like 7 spin classes and like 3 strengths a week and then like, training for a half marathon on the weekends. Forget that. I would even walk a mile to work from where I parked and then walk back. And then in a gym, I walk around and I talk to people. And that's what people kind of look at like previous in their life. So let's say they get to the point where they either, maybe they're just 35 years old and they were an athlete in college and everyone's always, if you were fit, you're constantly trying to chase the fittest you ever were.
Mm.
But nobody ever sits back and goes, what was actually going on in my life that I was able to be that fit? And it could have been like, yeah, I was on a college campus and I walked around everywhere. And people take for granted how much just that walking made the biggest difference. You could eat the same exact way, if not better now, but you burned, 3,000 calories without even thinking about it. And now you burn like, maybe 1,000 extra calories from the little movement that you do a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, giving yourself the grace of realizing I am not the person that I used to be, no matter how fit I was. So I have to learn to be happy where I am at this moment and realize that if you do have kids, yeah, that completely changed where you were 20 years ago. You like sacrifices have to happen. You don't really have a choice unless you want to get a job in fitness. Like, then go back to school, become a personal trainer and manage a gym and then you could work in the fitness industry and then be fit all day. I kind of could give people that advice, but you just kind of have to be okay with where you are and just realize that, you're just the next meal away from, making better choices, which is really what it's all about, opposed to being all in or all out.
Yeah.
And then every week is going to look a lot different. Like I'll have 3 weeks where I'm hitting, I'm like in the zone where it comes to my healthy eating and my workout, and then I have to go travel. And then the second you go to travel, I mean, that's a crapshoot on whatever you're going to eat. And even if you plan it correctly, you're sleep deprived, you're on a plane, you're in the airport, you're starving, and they have a Carvel, and you're like, screw it, I'm going to get a Sunday. And then that might trickle into the rest of your week. But just being okay with it, where it's like, I'm exhausted this week. I'm tired. I feel like crap. Having a salad is the last thing that's going to make me feel better. So it's like, F it, just have the pizza. But then, the next day, just know that start with something healthy and see where that takes you.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like you kind of already touched on it, but it was just something that I wanted maybe to expand a little bit on. Basically, your transition of goals and how when you were in your fitness job, moving around, having all this stuff, you probably didn't have as many goals or setting expectations as you do now, just because you aren't moving around as much. So how did that process kind of work for you? Because I feel like that could resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, when I was in fitness, my goal was performance goals. So then you're kind of already fit. And then I actually trained really hard in the Spartan arena. for actually probably about 5 years, trying to actually get on the podium. So that was a huge goal of mine for a long time. And I used to run a ton and I loved it. So the transition out of that is, I don't have the time to do it. And it's still something that I'm always thinking that I should get back into, but adapting to the time I have now. So, and basically my goals in life have, they've changed really. It's, my career is a lot different. So that the podium is not my goal anymore. It actually would probably be way too painful and I would not be able to quite recover from those type of events like I used to. But now it's more of, okay, realistically, my goal is I want to do strength training 4 times a week and I actually want to get in 10,000 steps. So that is really my new goal, 10,000 steps. If I get some extra cardio in, it's just more gravy. But what I've done is, I wear a Fitbit. So I'll constantly check that. Some weeks I do wear it, sometimes I don't wear it, and sometimes I have to plug myself back in to do it. But it's a constant awareness that I will have where it's like this week, month end week, as you guys know, I got to the gym twice. I got to the gym twice. So when this happens, and same thing, like I have pull-up goals still to this day. Like my goal is to get 15 pull-ups or chin-ups, without having to take a rest. I'm close. I have 8 is my max. So, thank you. Very proud of that. It used to be so much better, but that's another thing I'm trying to get better at is like don't look 10 years ago when I could do like 50 in 10 minutes and now it's I had to start back at 1 and that was a struggle, but I've over the past 6 months I've gone from 1 and I've gone to 8, so that's been huge. But with my workouts in general, we also have like I have specific goals I'm trying to hit from a weight perspective, but this whole week my number one goal was just to get to the gym. So, like, for example, I do group training classes. And even if I look at it where I'm like, I don't have 45 minutes, I have to get back for a call, I will go and do 30 minutes. And I will even tell the trainer that I have that's there, like, look, don't try to push me today. I'm going through the motions. I'm here, I'm checking that box, and I'm proud of myself to actually be here because I didn't want to come at all. Like I should have taken this time to either sleep a little extra or, work on a couple things that I haven't been able to get to, but no, I'm here. And then I'm gonna duck out at the finisher because I don't, want to do carries anyway or sleds, but I came for 30 minutes and then
Yeah.
I'm out. So like I only got to do that twice this week and there were no steps. So now I've kind of reset myself without being mad, just recognizing that, okay, it was a shitty week. I'm going to move on. So this weekend, I know like we're getting 8 inches of snow in Massachusetts. So Saturday, I never miss my Saturday workouts. And then I'm going to take a walk for an hour. So that's a huge amount of steps. I'm going to try and make up for it. And then I know on Sunday, there's a lot of shoveling in my future, and that's plenty of exercise.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, I will make my goals for the next week. And that's another thing. I've stopped projecting what my goals should be for the whole entire month. And I take them like at the beginning of the week. And if the beginning of the week didn't work, I reevaluate on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I
keep thinking that you do a really good job of like breaking down and just breaking down the just how simple it is to get a goal in there, and it can fit your agenda. It doesn't have to fit anybody else's. And I just think that's like something that people need to hear more. Also, I feel like people constantly get fed this message of I don't want to call it like hustle culture, because like that's fine if people like that and that's great, but I think most people are really like tired and they're like I don't want to keep up with this and I don't want to keep up with that, and they're overexhausted, with work and like other things of life. Not saying they're bad things, but yeah, I just feel like what you were saying is like it's like a refreshing message that I feel like a lot of clients could hear, of just like it's okay if your goals like don't look like you think they should right now. Maybe they will one day, but like, yeah, again, we've all kind of circled back to this, but like just starting somewhere and then like just starting again and again if you need to. And there's a lot of power in that. I think there's a lot more progress in that than people think.
Oh, that's a great point too, Haley. I mean, we are all in goal overload at this point in time. It's
Yeah.
like, my goal is I want to lose 15 pounds. My goal is I want to be a less reactive mother. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to put in more effort to ask my child quality questions. You want to if you're in a marriage, maybe we have goals of like, okay, we're going to prioritize date night, or
Yeah.
finance is another thing. Like, we're going to save this month. And it's just, we are bombarded with this never ending like goals. And then at work, depending on your job, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I got to get to those drop boxes that my boss has been hounding me about. Like you know what I mean? We're constantly every day resetting goals and resetting and doing and adding and adding and adding. And it kills you. And to just be okay with life is a journey, and it's okay if your weight loss goal, which for most people is always kind of there, like don't think about it today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The goal is to constantly keep working on those better habits. Like from a food perspective, I know exactly what to do, what to eat. Like I could jump on that healthy eating band. Like I know exactly what my body can do. And if I really wanted to zone in 2 months, I could probably drop that weight. But again, I don't want to eat just chicken and vegetables. Like I can't do that anymore. So it's I know like the produce and the food that I like that's going to work for me. And I know there's chunks of time where I'm not even going to look at that apple and I'm going to go for a bowl of cereal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Like I'm going to do it, but knowing that I have those healthier habits in me, that I know that it's doable, just letting myself take a mental break from putting all those rules and parameters on myself. And then lots of times with that, the healthy eating will come natural because you have it in you. Do you know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
it's okay, like I did buy the apple, it is right there, cereal, apple, and then you'll eventually reach for the apple. Or just, or giving yourself that, you know what, I'm going to eat whatever I want today because that is emotionally what I need or physically what I need.
And maybe that improves your like emotional or physical needs. Maybe that's like 3 steps forward for your emotional needs.
Mhm.
Maybe it's like only 1 step back for your physical needs for that day.
Yeah.
So it's not always about like, like one choice doesn't always just affect the thing that's right in front of you. It could help other things like going on in the background. And
Yeah.
then I think like without even realizing it, people start to develop like those long-term habits because like you said something about like I never miss my Saturday workout. And so it's like, I don't know how long it took you to develop that, but that's what you said. And that was something I got to thinking of like, oh yeah, like she in the day to day, like things are always changing, but here's something that's consistent for her. And that's something that I imagine is like really
Yeah.
helpful or
Yep.
like it helps everything reset for you. And so, yeah, like how does someone get there? I think, and it's from a lot of what you're saying.
No, that's great that you picked up on that because that is the one workout I don't move because that works for me. Saturday, like my child typically isn't up, or her and her father have their like soccer watching together. Like nobody needs me. It's a time that I have carved out that everybody knows I go to the gym. So, I typically go at 9 o'clock, so I get to sleep a little bit. Like, it's really not a big deal. So it's that one that has stuck, and then it's constantly just picking other ones. Then,
Yeah.
like, more so or not, Monday is the other day that I try never to miss because it's the start of the week.
Yeah.
And then if everything goes haywire, like, for the rest of the week, I at least know I got Saturday and I got Monday. So
Yeah.
that's two.
Yeah. And like talking about, I guess this is like maybe like a subtopic, but like social support. Like you talked about how like nobody needs me on Saturdays. And sorry, this light is going out. If I don't move every like 15 minutes in this office, it goes out. So sorry. Brittany can cut it out. But you're talking about social support and like when you said on Saturday mornings, nobody needs me and like that's my day to go do this. My daughter's taken care of and whatever. I think that's like maybe something that people can ask too. It's like, have you asked your family, especially like parents, or like, people kind of in charge of things. It's like, have you asked someone or is there like an outlet that you have where, how do you know like that no one will give you the time to do this if you don't ask? Or, maybe your spouse like makes up for that time that you're gone and you really need that for yourself. So then you can come back better. Things like that. I
Yeah,
thought that was a good point.
definitely something that you do have to work on with it. And you kind of like within your own life, I feel like have to figure out almost like what your family trends are.
Yeah.
Like my
Stay
family,
that way forever, but like, it can always, yeah.
exactly, but then that's what you'll capitalize on,
Yeah.
really, where and at the end of the day for mothers, we put ourselves through so much guilt and responsibility. And it's also just being like, especially if you have somebody at home that's watching your kids, they don't really need us that badly. Like we do put this pressure, and I had this conversation with another mom at the gym where we're like, we're constantly putting pressure on ourselves where if anything happens to our child, it's our fault. If our child, ends up with, an anxiety disorder later in life, it's our fault. We didn't give them enough attention, we didn't give them enough love. It's like this constant for all those mothers to be or thinking whether it's good or not, it's this constant anxiety and guilt that you will have for the rest of your life when you have an offspring. Because we always blame ourselves. But anyway, so I digress. It's they will be okay and they are better for it if you have an outlet. Like everybody needs an outlet of some kind. And, if you have the support, just let the support be there. And, also don't micromanage the support either. So if you do go away for a couple hours and you work out, don't come home and be aggravated the way breakfast wasn't given or the dog didn't go out or the dog wasn't fed. You just got to go with it. You just have to separate yourselves and everybody will be fine.
Yeah. Love it. I think we're coming up here on time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think you've inspired me. I'm sure you've inspired Haley, and I'm sure you've inspired a lot of other people that are going to watch this. I really love your breakdown of how you make it into weeks and how you make it into wins each week. I think that's like the biggest problem with setting unrealistic goals is people start off January 1st, they set 2025 and they do not break it down. And all they do is they say, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. I'm going to eat healthy. And then boom, that's their plan. It's like, that's why you're going to quit next Friday, So basically, thank you so much. If you guys have any closing statements, feel free to go ahead.
No, I mean, thanks for having me. Thanks for listening.